Hey everybody, how's it going? Steve here, joined by Daniel.
Hello everyone, how's it going?
We are at Pax West. I'm a little flustered. We just got out of the Nintendo booth. As you can see behind us, we got to play both Super Mario Party Jamboree and The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and we're excited to tell you everything that we can tell you about the show floor demo. So, Daniel, you did this first. Which game did you do first?
So when we got here, we did The Legend of Zelda, and then we hopped on over to Super Mario Party Jamboree, which was a lot shorter than Zelda, so maybe that's the one we'll start off with here for this one.
I agree. Super Mario Party Jamboree, some folks are getting to play 6, like our good friend Tris here, who's holding the camera for us. Some of us, like you and I, only got to play 3.
Right, I think we played the same set of 3 games, too, I believe.
Yeah, the first one was a 2v2 minigame in which you have to stand on these buttons to rotate a stone disc, and there are coins and bombs on those platforms, and it's basically psyching out the other team, like playing head games.
Yeah, this is where I'm really impressed with how they're handling minigames, because this is a minigame where you actually have to like consider what your teammate and what the opponents are thinking. Like you're trying to psych each other out because you want the turntable to land on coins, not the bomb. So you gotta kind of be greedy, but also be mindful of like not being too, not jump the gun so much, or else you'll screw your team over.
Yeah, and you have like a 10-second timer, and you can jump on and off the buttons at any time during those 10 seconds. So I found myself like constantly trying to angle the other team to get on theirs, and then jump off mine, like right as the timer expired.
It's like just 10 seconds of pure mind games, and I think for like people like us with friends that are really into Mario Party as well, it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and the winners of those games each get a star. For us, it was like first to 3 stars.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting mode. I completely lost. I got bodied. If you know me, you know I'm terrible at Mario Party. Like I have the worst Mario Party luck on Earth. But what was the next minigame you played?
The next minigame we played, I believe it was the one where you're selecting tiles on across a fire bridge.
Same.
That's one of them. Yeah.
Same. It was almost like a weird Tetris-like minigame in which you have to select a set of tiles, but if 2 people select the same one, you don't get any tiles at all. So I constantly like had groupthink with one of the other players, and we kept choosing the same ones. I think my character, I was playing as Peach, moved like 1 tile the whole game.
Yeah. I think I was trying to pick the one that was like the least popular, and then I noticed there was one instance where I did that. We all picked the same one.
Yeah.
So and then there was another instance where 3 people picked one, and then the other person got like the one that got like 3 tiles forward. So it's really, again, it's like that one minigame. There was a minigame in another Mario Party where if everyone picks the same one in the pile, nobody gets it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a really interesting set of minigames. I, too, tried to choose the least popular each time, and I think everybody thought the same thing. We were all trying to get the least popular option, so the one guy that was choosing the most popular, like the one that would go just straight across 3 tiles, he got it every time.
See, that's what's interesting. Like this and the last minigame, you really have to think about what your opponent is thinking, not just like what's the most optimal way to win this minigame. I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, it was really fun. And there was one more. And I'll be honest, I played so much in the booth that I'm kind of struggling to remember that 3rd minigame.
Tris, do you by any chance remember the 3rd minigame that wasn't the food one?
Offhand, no, because like all 6 were great, or that I got to play all 6 were great, but the food one stood out more to me.
Right, me too.
Oh, it was the bullet bill one. The
one.
Right.
Right, okay, that's the one. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. These are off-the-cuff impressions, folks. So yeah, there was a bullet bill minigame. It was a 1v3, in which one player is in a bonsai bill like mech, and you can see them through the windshield, and their goal is to just hit the 3 other players.
Coming forward slowly, and you have to try. They can like angle the bullet bill left and right while the characters are trying to avoid it. And yeah, you're just trying to psych out the one player to try and not get blasted by the bonsai bill.
I have to say, I respect the way you kind of slowly did the old direct hand motion.
The bullet bill was coming directly at me.
Yeah. But yeah, I found those were a lot of fun. That was the one game that I did good at. I got all the way through to the 5th round.
Oh, nice.
And then I just zigged when I should have zagged. But a lot of fun. All 3 mini games were fun. Apparently, Tris, you got to play a few more. Those were all food-related mini games. But I think people are probably more interested to hear about Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. We got a 15-minute demo of that here at the booth. Basically, it starts in a dungeon. If you remember Link to the Past, you're going to get some very familiar vibes from that. But why don't you take us through the first part of the demo?
Yeah, so we start off in the dungeon. Pretty much the moment that you meet Tri and you're given the Tri rod. So you have to escape with using your first echo, which I think is the table.
Yeah.
So you use the table to escape the dungeon, and you do a segment that we really attributed to Ocarina of Time, where you're trying to avoid the guards. You don't want to get caught by the guards that are all like poking around you. And so I remember that was something that we caught both of our eyes immediately. And within just those first minutes, you learn just what you can do and multiple solutions to just one thing in one room, like sneaking around the guards. You'll throw a pot to distract some of them. You'll create a box so that they can't go through a pathway, so you go around them. It's really something that, even just those first few rooms, you get to learn just how deep the mechanics for this game can be.
Yeah, I had trouble with this bit because I'm not a very good stealth game person, and so when I tried to make my way through, I got caught the first few times, and fortunately the Nintendo rep that was manning my demo basically tapped me on the shoulder and was like, if you're behind them, you can get as close as you want and they won't notice you. And when that clicked for me, I was able to get through super easy. I just did the traditional like walk behind one of the guards and all the way through and out. And after that, so we inadvertently ended up in kind of a competition I made up in my head, because you told me you got all the way to Suthorn Village.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I have to get there. And so I just started speed running the rest of the demo, like as much as I could.
Right.
And I ended up making my way to the village, but there's a lot of in between there.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do in this demo. I got 2 heart pieces. You can actually get 2 heart pieces on the way there. There was one like in the water. You can cross some of the stone bridges and off to the side with using beds, and then another one that's just like underground a bit.
Yeah, and it is funny the way the bed echo in particular is almost like gravity defying. Like you put a bed in the middle of another bed, and then you have like a kind of stair-stepping platform structure that you can use to get through. It's worth saying, of course, Zelda can jump in this, no Rock's Feather needed, no particular items. She just has the ability to jump from the jump. But yeah, you end up going through the after the guards, and Impa lays like an epic smackdown on the guards you were trying to avoid. She just beats them up. And then,
awesome.
Yeah, it is, especially because she's rather frail looking before that.
Yeah.
She like hobbles over to the guards and then just takes them out.
She went Master Roshi on these guards. It was awesome.
Yeah, and so after that, you end up kind of making your way to what they call the Royal Shortcut,
right?
Which is just like a 2D side-scrolling water segment where you learn that Zelda can swim, she can dive, she doesn't need any special items to do either of those things either. But where do we go from there?
So after we get flushed out of the castle, right? After we get flushed all the way out of the castle, we're in like a more foresty area. We're near a beach. We get our first echo of a enemy. That was the Zol, I believe, this little slime enemy. And from there, we're able to just kind of explore a bit. We learn like how we can interact with objects, like throwing a rock at the urchin, the spiny urchin. Like we had trouble with that the first time we did that as well.
Yeah.
Like how do we interact with this thing? And they're like, oh, everything has attributes. They have like a hardness. You can cut some grass with Zelda's little spin as well, which I'm sure is going to be used for a lot of speedrunning techniques as well. And just like, yeah, seeing everything interact with each other. They all have a weight. Like obviously a stone will sink, but a bed will float, which is really funny.
And a moblin will sink.
A moblin will sink. We had to do the science to figure out that enemies will sink and drown.
It's so sad to watch them drown. Like if you spawn an echo into water, you'll just watch it kind of slowly die.
Yeah.
But it is a little funny the first time. But yeah, at this point in the demo, I knew that I'd lost a lot of time, so I was just rushing. So I saw that Zol, I immediately threw a rock at it, I copied it. I saw the urchin, I threw a rock at it, I copied it. And then I made my way to the water, which was my first time encountering that part of the beach. And I saw those heart pieces, but I knew that if I wanted to get to the village, I just needed to pass them up. And so there's like a cave off in the distance that you can see. And I immediately just started I started stacking boxes in the water because like you said, they would float. So I did like a table and a box and then 2 boxes and deleted the table and kind of just hopped back and forth to get up to the cliff.
Yeah. There's just so much interaction with these. It generally reminds me of how objects interact and work in context with Breath of the Wild, but in a 2D, a top-down perspective instead. And I love how they've integrated that into a game like Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. And it's going to be really interesting to see how even more echoes will interact with each other because there's just a lot of things you can do with these objects, and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. Yeah,
I mean, that was pretty much the extent of the demo. It was only 15 minutes, but it was a really good 15 minutes. It showed us kind of what Nintendo is thinking with this new iteration of 2D Zelda. It's been a long wait. It's been 11 years since we got a
Yeah.
new 2D Zelda, but honestly, 15 minutes doesn't tell the whole story of any game, especially not a Zelda game, but it was a pretty darn great 15 minutes.
I loved it. I'm going to just get this day one, obviously. I'm going to media blackout and just play as much as I can of this game.
Yeah, it's interesting previewing a game that you want to play already, right?
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind that this is a game that I want to pick up, that I want to play, that I need to have day one or hour one or minute one. But
there's definitely some people that I've seen on the show floor and talked to that they weren't certain about this game because they're not. Maybe they might not be huge Zelda fans like us, but they played the demo and they're like, I'm a lot more sold on this game now. And
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what Nintendo wanted to see happen, was that people that may not be sure if this style of game with Zelda as a protagonist with these mechanics would be something that people would be into.
And that's a really good point you're making, because this is a very different style of Zelda game, right? You don't have a sword.
Yeah.
You don't fight things necessarily directly. You fight them using your wits, using your wisdom.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is a really addictive trait to this game. We got a very limited look. We'll have more on the channel later when we get more time with the game. But for now, I gotta say, I was sold before. I'm even more excited now.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth.
And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll have much more from PAX West 2024. Stay tuned to GVG for that. If you like this, please like, subscribe, do the YouTube thing. You know how it goes. If you want to support us, patreon.com/GVGaming. And if you'd like to support our camera person, Tris, please head over to youtube.com/@ToonTris, TOONTRIS. Show them your love. Give them a subscription.
Absolutely.
Check them out. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Tris, for holding the camera for us. That's going to do it for this video. We'll see you guys next time. Until then.
All right. Till we meet again.
Bye.